Hey guys, Carrie-Anne for Jessica Jones, Season 1, Episode 5, aka The Sandwich Saved Me. I've been wanting to review this episode for you guys for a little bit now. I watched the episode back on Sunday, and I just didn't really get a chance to review it. Sorry, I've been a bit behind my Jessica Jones reviews, but I plan on watching 2 episodes tonight, so I should be good with that and caught up. Actually, maybe even 3, because I honestly don't give a shit about watching Scream Queens live. I really don't, guys. I'll probably watch it tomorrow. I was definitely looking forward to this episode, as usual, and especially after the cliffhanger in episode 4, I definitely was looking forward to this episode. And I have to say, this was by far my favorite one yet. I mean, this episode really had everything that I love in a Jessica Jones episode. It was funny, it had some really great dramatic moments, but I also really loved the way this episode was done. There were a lot of flashbacks in this episode, a lot was revealed in this episode, and we finally get to see Jessica Jones before she encountered Kilgrave, and it's very interesting to see. They did it very well in this episode, and that's one of the reasons why I love the episode so much. But let's just get into it. There's a lot that happened, and one of my favorite scenes, probably of one of the most intense scenes I've seen in any show this year was in this episode. So we'll get into that. And they also showed, I think, why this show is doing things differently in Daredevil, and I really do love that. So let's get into the episode. We start off with Jessica. She's bouncing a rubber ball on a computer monitor in a crowded office, and I mean, she's just that bored. And we see it's a flashback. This suited man asks if she thinks rubber balls by themselves, and accuses her of stealing sodas from the office, which she apparently only stole 2, and she prints some notes and comments on how he can't afford his suits and the trips to Atlantic City on his mid-management level, and she demands that he fires her or she'll report him. He tells her her parents must be proud, so she knocks over shelves. She's obviously very upset in this job, and I like seeing that Jessica really hasn't changed in this regard. She's always been this sarcastic woman, and she'll always be this sarcastic woman. It's part of her personality. It's something that no one will ever get rid of, and that's just how Jessica Jones is. So, as far as her personality goes, she'll never not be sarcastic, which I think is pretty funny. I definitely like seeing that. And I think Krysten Ritter's really doing a great job with that. So Jessica meets Trish at a bar, and this is interesting. I like seeing Trish in this episode before she was involved with Kilgrave and before, when her and Jessica were happy. I like seeing this here. She complains about the job. Trish tells her that she's overqualified for these jobs, and a man approaches and recognizes Trish and starts singing the song from the show called It's Patsy, which apparently was Trish's first TV show. Shares that he learned how to watch TV and masturbate at the same time, and Jessica challenges him to a strength test where if he loses, he apologizes and leaves, and if he wins, she'll give him sexual favors. So he punches the automated bag, scores a 523, she calmly steps up, scores a 999, and he's embarrassed and apologizes, and he pays Jessica. Really funny scene there. Trish covers for Jessica's strength, and when she gets back to the table, she tells Jessica that she could use her powers for something useful, and Trish says she wants to be a hero, and Jessica says that she'll make a hero, so she holds up the man's money and calls out shots on Trish Walker, everybody, and I really like seeing that. Just seeing Trish and Jessica, when they were happy, before they were dealing with all this bullshit, was really nice. But the saddest part about this is that this is not their life anymore. This is what their life used to be. Now, they're looking at photos of Malcolm, and, I will say that their plan this episode was really great. Basically, they're looking at photos of Malcolm before Kilgrave. They want to know why he would be working for Kilgrave, because it just kind of seems like it came out of nowhere. So in the park, Jessica follows him to where he typically meets Kilgrave. And we realize that not only is he working for Kilgrave, he meets Kilgrave on a regular daily basis in this park, which is very interesting to see. And I like the way they revealed these little details here and there. And by the way, guys, this is by far the most we've seen of Kilgrave out of any episode, and I definitely would love that. David Tennant, oh my god, awesome in this episode. Definitely awesome here. He gets paranoid. It's 10 a.m. and no one meets Malcolm. He simpers off, and Jessica follows him, seeing him meet Kilgrave. She recites the street names before looking once more. She draws the anesthetic needle as Kilgrave looks through the photos, gives Malcolm a small envelope, and sends him on his way. Now, this envelope probably contains the photos, so I'm pretty sure we're led to believe that Kilgrave is taking these photos, and Malcolm is just involved. That's kind of what I thought was going on here, because I really couldn't tell, is he taking these photos? Is he just part of it? I really couldn't tell what was going on there. Sorry, guys, just dropped my phone. But sorry, guys, about that, but I just dropped my phone. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on with that. So Trish and Jessica discuss Malcolm's recruitment. Trish is very optimistic. Jessica wants to use Malcolm to get to Kilgrave, which I thought was a very smart plan. Just use Malcolm that way. That was very smart of her to do that. Definitely very smart in that regard. So basically, Jessica follows Malcolm again. It's 10 a.m. and no one is meeting him. No one is there once again, and Malcolm is confused and he hears something from a woman walking by. She tells him where to meet Kilgrave. Jessica quickly follows Malcolm again, who meets Kilgrave, who's stealing magazines and makes the kiosk owner pour coffee on his face. This is really the first time I think we see how dangerous Kilgrave really is. I mean, yeah, the second episode, that scene with the kids was pretty, terrifying, but this was even more terrifying. Just knowing what Kilgrave can do, he can make you pour coffee on your face or steal magazines like that is really crazy, and you can definitely tell that I think his powers are a lot more advanced than Jessica's. Jessica has great powers, but he just seems to have a lot more advanced powers, definitely, which is very interesting. So, Jessica leaves a voicemail for Trish, polishes off some whiskey before showering the bottle over her trash can, and while she's cleaning up, someone knocks on the door, and it's the neighbor, Ruben. He's concerned about the glass shattering and brought home baked banana bread. Jessica accepts it, slams the door in his face, which I thought was pretty funny. She's like, I don't want your banana bread. She closed the door. And, as we know, that the cop Will went with Trish, and I was pretty sure they're gonna have sex. And that's exactly what happens. They're having sex. Jessica's barging in. She's knocking on the door. She's slamming on the door. Trish doesn't really want to answer, and finally she answers because she's realizing that Jessica's not gonna go away unless she answers the door. So Jessica basically lays out a plan to get Kilgrave, but Will really doesn't think it's a good idea. He doesn't think it's gonna work, and what I like about this episode is one of the conflicts, some of the best scenes in this episode is the conflict between Jessica and Will. These two really don't like Will. Jessica really doesn't like Will. Will, I think, cares about Jessica, but Jessica clearly does not like Will at all, wants nothing to do with him, and they had some really great bear in this episode. I definitely like seeing that. So he tells her she needs to be up close and kill him quickly, and Jessica criticizes their choice to start hooking up, but before telling Trish she needs her to drive her. She doesn't think that, having sex with Will is a good idea. She doesn't think Trish should do this. It appears these two are an item now. They're not just hooking up. They seem to be a couple. And Jessica apparently doesn't have a license, which is interesting. We found that out, which would make sense because of her powers. I mean, we know what she could do. She could probably do some really bad things. So Trish has to be on the air in an hour, so the cop volunteers to help, and after some silent debate, Jessica allows it, and he says he'll grab some pants, and this episode, they basically go on their own little side mission, which I definitely like seeing. So Will drives Jessica. He claims that Kilgrave won't see him, and she questions why, if he's so great, was he dismissed from special ops, which is a good question. I mean, why was he dismissed here if he claims he's this really great cop? And she's drilling him that he doesn't know anything about Kilgrave, and he has no idea what he's doing. They go inside. They continue arguing about who knows more. They plan to go for Kilgrave the day after tomorrow. They'll dart him and wrap him up, and Jessica locks him in the soundproof room. They both criticize each other without the other hearing, which I thought was pretty funny. And then we see a flashback, and Jessica's giving out hoagie coupons as a little girl almost gets hit by a cab. She saves the little girl by stopping the car, and I think this was the first instant that Jessica realized she could really be a good superhero because she saved this girl. It was a very well done scene, and I like that she was just giving out hoagie coupons. It was very funny. I love her little, like, hoagies, come get your hoagies. Like, she's not into it at all. She doesn't care. She's clearly not into selling hoagies, and I definitely like that. So, Malcolm's passed out in the elevator. Jessica and Ruben tend to him. Jessica takes him home. Again, you really see that even though Jessica knows he's working for Kilgrave, she still is helping him out. Probably get closer to Kilgrave, but Ruben asks Jessica if she wants to go to a movie sometime, and she just looks at him. She does not want any attachment to him right now. She doesn't want to deal with anyone that's working with Malcolm. She just doesn't really want a relationship in general. You can tell that's something that Jessica does not condone. She's not think it's a good thing to do, and I think it's just because the emotion she has and what she's been through, she clearly doesn't want an emotional attachment to anyone, and anyone that tries to do an emotional attachment, she's going to think is very foolish for doing that. So Trish and Will look at the van he acquired. Trish assures him she's a great driver. He reveals he read her Wikipedia page, and he questions where Jessica got her powers, but Trish doesn't give him any details, probably because she just doesn't want him to know. So she suggests that he just go talk to Jessica about it because she'll probably explain better than she will, and he wants to know who he's working with, but Trish asks if he trusts her, and that's all that matters. He makes a cop joke about seeing her license, and he kisses her, and I thought that was a sweet scene. I honestly like these two guys. I will say that. I think Trish and Will are quite good together. I know Jessica doesn't like them together, but I like them. So Malcolm lays on his bed. Jessica approaches him. She leaves, and he barely wakes up. He's pretty much passed out. And in the hallway, she gets a call from Hope and goes to the jail to see her. And we do see Hope in this episode. We didn't see Hope in the last episode, but we do see her here. Once again, no Luke, though. No Luke Cage in this episode. I think we're going to see him in the next episode because episode 6 said he's in it, so I'm assuming The next episode is a Luke Cage episode. So Hope and Jessica sit in a visiting room. Hope asks Jessica to, who brought the money. She needs, if Jessica brought the money because she needs cash. And this big woman calls for Hope, and Hope begs Jessica for cash. Jessica hands her some money across the table. We don't really know what's going on with Hope. That's something I like. I like that we don't fully understand, what Hope's life is like, what's going on with her. I want to find out more what's going on there, and I like that we don't really know what's fully going on here. What is this money all about? Why does she need it? Things like that. We don't know the answer to these questions, and I like that we know that. It keeps us guessing. It keeps us wanting to be invested in these characters, and this is a great example of how to do that, and I definitely really like seeing that scene. I thought it was a very great scene. I definitely really enjoyed it. Just seeing Jessica meet with Hope. Again, just the more that Hope is getting, the more I'm liking her character. I already liked her character, but this episode I liked her even more because now we have this mysterious stuff with her. We don't know what's going on. I definitely like that. So then we see another flashback, and this is really great. I mean, one of the things that makes Jessica Jones such a different show from other superhero shows is the fact that, the first episode is typically the, what this flashback would be, trying on the costume or becoming the hero. Well, in this show, of course, Jessica was a superhero, now she's not. So this is a great example of what we can get in this show and why the show I think is so great because it's not like other superhero shows. Because we see Trish, she's showing Jessica a cheesy blue and white costume. Jessica's totally against it, and Trish tries on the mask. It's a very fun scene. Jessica teases her about it. Trish wants her to go back to Jewel, but Jessica says that it's a stripper name, and if she was going to wear the costume, Trish might as well call her Camel Toe. And I like that they just had this scene here, just seeing them happy, like I said, without any worries in the world, just her becoming a superhero, not really thinking anything of it, is very interesting juxtaposed to now when she regrets it so much. It's interesting to watch, and Jessica sits on her desk thinking before falling. Remember that, we all know that scene that we got in the trailer. We finally get in this episode. She's sitting on her desk thinking. She follows Malcolm down the hallway into the elevator. They go down. He brushes out of the elevator, and she tells him to hang in there when they get outside. She follows him, and in the van, Jessica loads up on anesthetics, and Trish drives in. Trish is in the driver's seat. The cop is in. Will's in the passenger seat, and Jessica's in the back. They're arguing over petty facts before Trish shuts them up because she just doesn't want them to fight, and Jessica and Will head for Kilgrave, and we get what was by far one of the most intense scenes the show has given us. Probably the most intense scene we've gotten in this episode, because they actually get close to getting Kilgrave, and we're only on episode 5. This is a great example of how different this show is from other superhero shows. Other shows, this would happen towards the end of the season. Daredevil, this happened towards the end of the season. Not yet. This is really early, but something I like about Jessica is that she's willing to go after Kilgrave, as early as possible. There's no uncertainty of her being like, I don't want to do this, I don't think this is safe, she wants to get revenge, she wants to go after Kilgrave, and it's very interesting to see. I like seeing that from Jessica. So Jessica suggests that he not get her out should Kilgrave get her, but he thought she was going to say kill her. They get in position. Malcolm looks around for Kilgrave. A man approaches, telling him where to go. Malcolm heads off. Jessica follows. It's further than usual. He exits the park at 16th Street. They meet in an outdoor cafe. Jessica tells Trish and Will. Malcolm and Kilgrave exchange envelopes. I had no idea what was going to happen in this scene, I have to say. The scene was very, very intense here. Trish parks at the corner. Will approaches with a bag. The balloon pops, and Kilgrave looks, noticing him. Jessica yells out for him, and basically Will darts Kilgrave in the neck. He falls unconscious. 2 men come to take care of it, and Jessica throws them off of her. She carries Kilgrave to the van. The 2 men chase after. Jessica stares at Kilgrave's unconscious body, punches him in the face, and the van pulls down a side alley. Jessica finds a tracker in her suit, and men approach and tase Trish. Will fights one off, Jessica another. They tase her, but she fights them off. The cop takes them down one man before another gets the better of him. 4 men surround Jessica with tasers. Will reverses the fight and starts to take on another, but he's struggling, and the men grab Kilgrave from the van. They take off, and Will tends to an unconscious Trish before zip-tying one man's hands together, and that scene was just great. I loved it. It was really intense. It was really crazy, and I had no idea what was going to happen there, and I loved it. That's one of the reasons why I love that scene so much, because I had no idea what was going to happen, and it was really intense stuff. They did a good job. Again, like I said, the show, you really can never predict what's going to happen because it's always so intense. So Trish criticizes herself for falling unconscious. She kind of feels like this is her fault, but Will is commanding her work. And later, the man they have captured begs them not to torture him. They want information on Kilgrave. The man says he works for a security firm, but Will doesn't believe him. This is not Kilgrave they've got. They say, he's saying that he doesn't believe him. He wants names of the firm and other details, which is very smart, but Jessica actually doesn't want to torture this man. She doesn't want to put him through shit. Because if he is being sincere, she doesn't want to hurt him. So Jessica heads down her hallway, hears some voices coming from Malcolm's apartment. A woman is telling Malcolm that she needs money before pulling a gun on him as he begs for a fix. And something I liked about this scene is that you're seeing that while Malcolm is with Kilgrave, he is struggling financially, really, and Jessica steps in to take the gun. She tosses Malcolm on the couch 3 times, and he says, "You can't save me again," and we get a flashback here that was really great. I really love this here. Basically, 2 guys are mugging Malcolm, demand his wall. Jessica beats them and tosses him into a fence and wall with ease, and we find out that Jessica knew Malcolm. That's why Malcolm broke into her apartment, because he knew her. That makes perfect sense on why that happened. I mean, he just didn't randomly barge into her apartment. He clearly knew her and thought of her as an ally. Because what Kilgrave does here is very interesting. We realize this is the first time that Kilgrave met Jessica. We get that in this episode. And it really was very rewarding. I thought this was very well done. Kilgrave's applauding with 2 women at his side. He dismisses the women and he tells Jessica to come closer. Let him have a look at her. He compliments her skin and power and criticizes her fashion. He asks if she enjoyed being the thug, and she says she did. She enjoyed helping someone and making a difference, and he asks her name, and she says Jones, Jessica Jones. He's fine with it, invites her for Chinese food after telling her she likes Chinese food, and they just leave Malcolm there. So you're kind of realizing that Kilgrave is the reason Malcolm has gone so bad. Malcolm has turned to drugs because of Kilgrave. It's all pretty much Kilgrave's fault. Why Malcolm would be working with Kilgrave, I'm not really sure, but he is. He's working with Kilgrave, and I think it's very interesting the fact that Kilgrave essentially is the one that made him so fucked up, and he's working with him. It's very interesting. The way that Kilgrave was able to probably subdue him is very interesting. So Malcolm sweats in the bathroom. This is now, Jessica brings him a sandwich. Of course, that's why this episode was called Saved by Sandwich. He's rude to her. He says he needs just a little fix, but he's handcuffed to a pipe. She reminds him of when he was going to help people. He insinuates that he can't help anyone, and she tells him that he has a choice now. He tells her he took pictures of her and says he did sometimes just for the drugs. She tells him that Kilgrave got him hooked, but he claims to have had a choice, that Kilgrave apparently is the one that got him on these drugs. He gave him these drugs, and that's what's happened, but he's claiming this is his choice. He doesn't want to admit that this is Kilgrave's fault, and Kilgrave's powers don't last that long. He did it for the drugs, and he says that Kilgrave will find him, he'll be dead anyway, and he says, should please just give him his drugs, and Jessica drops blankets on him, sits in the doorway. She doesn't want to give him drugs, because she knows what it can do to him, so she starts telling him about when he had her, how there was part of her that fought, and she's still fighting, and she won't stop fighting if he gives up. She loses. She asks if he understands, and he explains that he went after Malcolm to get to Jessica. She urges him to be a human again rather than the self-pitying piece of shit, and Kilgrave turned him into and saved Jessica for once. Jessica leaves drugs on the floor and leaves, and Malcolm snatches them. Really sad scene, I have to say, really tragic stuff. I really did feel bad for Malcolm. I mean, he's addicted, and it's Kilgrave's fault, and he won't admit that this is all Kilgrave that did this. Jessica will fully admit this is Kilgrave's fault, but he won't. He's not going to admit this is Kilgrave's fault, because it is Kilgrave's fault. However, like I said, we are going to see Kilgrave's view on this, and Kilgrave's view is that he obviously doesn't think he did anything wrong here, which is very interesting. I like seeing this view. Kilgrave's view is just, the way people view him is very interesting, and Malcolm's one of those men that kind of justify what he's doing. Remember, we don't really know what Kilgrave's plan is. We don't really know, well, we know that Kilgrave is obviously on a revenge mission against Jessica because he didn't save her from the bus crash. But there definitely is more to Kilgrave that we just don't know yet, and I like that mystery. I like that uncertainty, and they're really handling that very well. So Trish loads her gun by her balcony, puts it in her jacket, and inmates creep up on Hope while she's sleeping. They start beating her. Again, we don't know what's going on with Hope, but something is definitely going on with her. Kilgrave wakes up with a bruise on his face. He looks in the mirror, pulls a tooth out. He looks and laughs, licking his lips with a bloody tongue. Really, really crazy shit there. Jessica's phone rings, and we get to the end of this episode. She answers, and it's Kilgrave. He tells her that he's exhausted, and it's rare to feel powerless, but it's exhilarating to think about how his life was in her hands, and he questions why she wants him alive, because Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if you kill me, why do you want me alive? And he chooses not to make her tell him. He doesn't want her to say it. So she doesn't say anything. He goes on about how she's mad about the junkie. He claims that Malcolm didn't do anything he didn't want to. And Kilgrave offers to leave Malcolm alone if Jessica will do his job for him. If she brings him pictures every day at 10 a.m., send the picture, save the junkie. So he wants to start now, which I think is a reasonable offer. He questions they have a deal. He wants to hear her voice. She hangs up the phone, and she's not going to give in to him. She's just not going to give in. And then she gets a text, and it says, "I'm waiting," and you don't know what Jessica's going to do here. She heads to the bathroom where Malcolm is struggling on the floor. He put the drugs in the toilet, and what I love at this scene is that this whole scene you're kind of questioning, does Jessica still want to be a hero? Does she still want to save people? Does she still want to do all those good deeds that she's done? So then we get to this episode where Kilgrave gets a photo of Jessica on his phone, and that's how this episode ends. So yes, Jessica is gonna work for Kilgrave. She's going to do what he tells her to do, despite her probably not, she probably shouldn't. She's going to anyway because she clearly really wants to save Malcolm. She wants to help him. She doesn't want him to go through this, and she genuinely wants to help him out here, which I can understand. I can understand why she wants to help him out. But what a crazy episode, really. I loved all the flashbacks episodes. I thought they were all really important. What's going to happen here with Jessica? I mean, this is really going to backfire. But Kilgrave clearly wants something else. We don't really know what he wants right now, and that definitely is going to be very interesting to see why exactly he's doing this. I'm pretty sure he just did this to Malcolm to lure Jessica to him because, he knew Jessica is kind. He knew Jessica was a superhero. He knew she had some kindness in her heart, and if she, claims that she's still the superhero and she still wants to help out people, she needs to do something selfless, and this is the most selfless thing she could have done, and I really loved seeing that. I thought that was definitely really great that she, that she did this. I mean, it's probably gonna backfire. It's probably gonna be really bad for her, but she just saved someone she really cares about, and I think it's really great that she did that. Trish and Will, I like them together. I do. I know Jessica doesn't. I know Jessica doesn't approve of them. I know she thinks it's bad that they're together. I like them together. I think it's good that they're together. I think it's good that they have this bond. It's better to have a bond than not to. They can relate in certain ways. I definitely like seeing that. It's something that's very well done. I am kind of wondering what's going to happen here, though. Is Jessica going to prove this? I mean, clearly she is starting to gain more trust in Will as the episodes go on. You can definitely see that, but I don't know. It's very interesting to see what's going on with that. What is going on with Hope? We don't know what's going on with Hope. We don't know what's going on with her. We don't know why all this is happening. I mean, we still don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. No Jerry in this episode. No Jerry at all. Fine. I didn't care. Like I said, I don't care about Jerry's plot, really. So, and by the way, guys, I have nothing against lesbian couples. I know people have said, why do you think against lesbian couples? I could care less if Jerry and her, wife were lesbian. I could care less. It's just the way the storyline's being handled, I don't really like it. It's that simple. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with Jerry and her a wife being lesbian. Fine, they're lesbian. Give them something interesting to do. It's that simple. Just give them something to do that's not that, because I don't care about their whole affair situation. I think it's stupid, honestly. It's not stupid, it's just I'm not really into it because everything else in the show is just so good. I love their plan in this episode. I really like the way that was handled. Very, very good stuff there. I've really seen the flashbacks as well. Definitely really powerful stuff. You don't really see much of a change for Jessica, but that's fine. I don't know. I know people complain there's really not a change there. I do see it as kind of like she's kind of just put that part of her aside. Like she's put this heroic part of her aside, and now she has to get back into it, which Kilgrave knows she doesn't want to, and that's a very good way of targeting her. It was very smart for him to do that. I definitely like that. And again, it really shows how smart Kilgrave is and how good he is at thinking and reading Jessica. He really knows how to read her. He really is good at getting into her head, and I think he did that very well here. But overall, guys, I really love this episode. By far, this episode of season. Definitely really love this one overall. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Like I said, really loving it. And we'll see you guys in my next one, which will be for episode 6 of Jessica Jones. I will review Supergirl at some point. I don't know when. I'll get it out probably tomorrow. So we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.